You're listening to the Aftergrad podcast. I'm Robert Kane.
And I'm Victoria Gilbert, and we are your fellow Aftergrads, trying to find clarity and security in this post-grad moment.
On this show, we discuss the societal pressures that stand to mold us into inauthentic versions of ourselves while striving to make our dreams a reality.
We welcome you on this journey as we try to navigate the pandemic, careers, bills, and who knows what else.
But today, we're having a conversation about feeling homesick, wanting to return home, what a comfortable home looks like for us, the emotional impacts of wanting to create a comfortable home in the midst of a transition period. But first, we need to catch up, Victoria, because it's been a second since we've seen each other.
We went home. I was so cold up here. Everything just seemed so stale. I wonder if it was always like this, because everyone said it's normally just cold.
Right.
Cold. But we're experiencing hot, then we're experiencing very cold.
Cloudy,
then
rain.
Snow, all of it. I leave DC and go to leave the snow.
Right. To escape. I went to Los Angeles.
Yes.
You went to Dallas.
Yes. And guess what? When I got there, it started snowing.
You told me that.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
So my mom was like, "You brought the snow with you." I paid.
I would be so pressed
to leave, to get rid of the snow. Yeah, but it turned out great. Yeah, 2 days.
Okay.
But those 2 days, my mom was able to be off work, so we got to enjoy each other's company.
Beautiful.
So I think that was maybe the world or the environment just giving me good juju to have real quality time with my parents.
Right.
So. Yeah, but at first I was like, this snow, guys, it has to go.
Because we literally left that. You paid for the flight to escape the snow, to get out of
and I came right into some snow.
Yeah, no, I definitely relate with that. I think the weather here, I just needed some warmth. I'm very big on that. And here it was just constantly snowing. It was raining. It was making me feel a little depressed. Yeah. But when I went to Los Angeles and I got to catch up with friends, hey, that was so fun. Yeah. And I mean, I spent 4 years of my life, and I was originally born in Sacramento, so it was really kind of like a return home again twice on that, but I didn't see family in Sacramento. I hung out with my friends in Los Angeles, and it gave me all the energy that I needed to just return back here to the home that we've created here in DC and continue working, continue looking for opportunities. And yeah, what was the takeaway from your
I just
return
needed
home?
a change of pace. Like sometimes you feel like you're doing all the right things and the schedule, the routine, it's hitting, it's right. But then you can sit in the routine and you can be like, I know this is what I'm supposed to do. But I'm bored, or not even that I'm bored, it's just I feel, again, the word stale. Like, looking around, everyone's cold. I said, I just need a different tempo. I need a different person to pop up in my day.
Speaking of bored in DC, we were talking about the fashion of DC, and actually, one exciting new update for me. It's the lack of color. It's the lack of color, and it's the lack of fashion. Everyone here is so conservative with their fashion choices, which is fine.
I mean,
that's
throw
cool.
anybody.
No, not throwing anyone under the bus. It's just an observation, just something that I've noticed, and maybe it's a consequence of us being in winter currently and exiting it. Maybe we'll see something new when spring arrives.
We're definitely living in the corporate world here. Like a lot of the jobs are in offices, and maybe the creative people are indoors.
We're trying to locate them, right?
We are. I saw this one. Like we saw them. They were across the street. We said,
that was a while ago. They can dress. Those were the first people that we saw. They had a really nice fit. I don't know if they were a couple or just friends, but whatever they were giving in their fits, it was everything.
Yeah. Other than that, we see salmon, the color salmon, black and white.
Gray. All of just drab colors.
So colors matter too. And those same colors are the snow, the sky.
Yeah.
I had to go.
Yeah, you had to go, and went we shall, and that's what we did. I guess one exciting update in terms of returning back to DC for me is, as I was saying, I'm actually having the chance to meet a fashion photographer today, which I'm super excited for.
You left, you had your recap, and even though it might have seemed like it was you going off track and getting off your routine, coming back, giving yourself that break, giving yourself that rest, and then you come into something working for you, in your favor. That just must feel,
It feels great. It feels fantastic.
Like I just came
and
back
I feel like also I wanted, I'm ready, and also with the trip, I think I was able to drop a lot of things that were worrying me in terms of my professional career, in terms of what I want to see for myself long term. Honestly, I'm just going to be upfront. Social media consumed a lot of my life, but I have a new perspective on social media right now, and I'm cleansing my social media palette, and it feels really good. I feel really light, airy, and lots of energy. So yeah, like you're saying, it feels super great to return back to DC, my current home, and to have this opportunity to, like we were saying, meet another creative, meet someone that I'm going to be able to hopefully build a long-term relationship with in the future. So yeah, that's happening later today.
And that's facts in terms of cleaning your palette with the IG, because we haven't seen each other in a month. It's been a whole month of us like kind of, he went a week early, then I went 2 weeks, so in total about a month. And I was like checking to see how you're doing. No post, no story. I love that for you.
I love that for us. But what we did recently post is our fits, our blue fits. You know, I wasn't going to say anything, but y'all can see what we're doing here. So thank y'all for the love on those posts too. The shoot went really well. It was a really fun experience. And
so much fun.
Many more to come too.
More to shoot as well because of this mentorship for you. I'm so excited.
Let's go. And if you also listen to our last episode, you'll know that we got scammed by cryptocurrency. And I'm very big on growth, development, and you put me onto this Teach Yourself cryptocurrency course, and it's been teaching me.
And a friend put me onto that, so shout out to him for that.
Absolutely. I feel like I'm learning, knowing what is a scam, what's not a scam, what to listen to.
We're doing better.
We're doing better. Right. We're learning from our mistakes.
You see smiles on our faces. We've moved on.
We have.
You know, it's funny. When I went back to Dallas, everybody wanted to rehear the story. I was like, no, I left that behind
me.
I don't know who that is. She's new now.
Right.
Renewed,
refreshed, and
not thinking about that
at all,
and just moving forward. And now we're learning about it the right way. Again, feels great. Just waking up, doing a lesson a day, and actually learning the ins and outs. And for those of you who know cryptocurrency or like the name cryptocurrency, definitely look into it as well, because that alone branches out into numerous things. We're realizing there's so many corners to this industry. You have to find which one speaks to you.
Right.
That's what we're doing.
And that's what we're doing. And it can be misleading too, because there was a piece of information that I got from the course, and I got super excited about it because it felt like a way for me to make money from the industry. But then literally I kept reading throughout the lesson and the article, and that piece of information was outdated. It was no longer in use. So again, you just have to keep learning so that you're not acting on false information. So don't do what we did and expressed in the previous episode is what we're trying to say.
Yeah.
Anywho, what we want.
Flashback.
Literally flashbacks. Yeah. But, I think for me, being back in DC, the spring is upon us, right? And I'm, again, just so thankful for warm weather. I think this period, also we're in Pisces season too.
Oh,
it's the end of the zodiac calendar, and
love me some Pisces.
I think that this season is just all about closing chapters and opening new pages.
That's right. The full moon was like 2 days ago.
Right.
So any lesson you were relearning or had to learn over the course of a year, a couple months or days, it's coming to a close. And hopefully when you're at that closing point, you're reflecting and you actually grew from the lesson instead of going back into your old ways.
Right.
So yeah, that's the season.
That's what we're in.
Tell us about this internship, apprenticeship. Like, tell us more.
Honestly, I've just been on this wave of being very shameless with my outreach. I've been just going on LinkedIn, going on Instagram, trying to look for photographers who are in DC to assist with their photo shoots. And I've just gone on their platforms. If their work speaks to me, I reach out. And I have a LinkedIn message that I not reuse, but it's close, very similar to each photographer that I want to reach out to. So I've just gone on their platforms, looked at their work. If something speaks to me, I just send a message. And if they get back to me, great. If they don't, okay, on to the next. And that's literally the process that I use for whenever I'm trying to get an opportunity.
Just tossing
just tossing it out. And I think, not necessarily daring to fail, but just putting myself out there with the chance of being turned down or not responded to.
And not phased if it goes
if it goes left, because at least I put myself out there, and then there's an opportunity for me to have a chance like I have today to meet with this lady, to meet with this photographer, and it's just another opportunity for me. I just want opportunities right now. I just want a chance to prove myself, a chance to learn, a chance to grow, and that's literally as simple as that how this opportunity came to me. I sent a LinkedIn message after finding the photographer, and the lady got back to me and scheduled a coffee chat with me that we're going to do in person. That's literally it. And that's so incredible because it sometimes isn't as difficult. Right up your alley too,
because in DC, like we were saying, there's not a lot of fashion that's being projected around here, so not a lot of inspiration to capture as a photographer.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're able to find your niche exactly, it's a beautiful journey.
It is a beautiful journey.
And the way she reached back and she was like, I need help.
Yeah.
It's like both people are, you know,
right, yeah.
the right timing.
It is the right timing. And she literally expressed that I'm always looking for assistance, especially right now because apparently her work is starting to pick up. She's starting to get more clients to work with, which means more opportunity for me to learn and to meet other people in the industry. So yeah, that's been me after returning to DC. What about you?
I want to say I was throwing myself out there, but I kind of was meditating. So that was kind of my method on how I got this opportunity. We didn't even meet. I met a person by chance at a subway station. And then we talked briefly and they said, reach out to this person. Reached out, we connected, and we always planned on, you know, meeting and talking over Zoom. But it never happened. A week went by, she never got back. And then another week, didn't get back. But I wasn't phased. I'm not like, I used to be very like timely. But in the midst of it, I was like, no, like, it's really fine.
Right.
All in good timing. Whatever it happens, I just stayed on my grind in terms of meditating and my routine. And then go to switch it up, go to Dallas. I get an email, hey, how's this weekend for you to meet? What?
That's crazy.
What? Oh my gosh. So it came such in good timing. This person who has now just stepped in my life just brings a huge smile on my face. I'm rarely speechless, but when meeting her, I was speechless because I even cried. Not because I felt like I really needed this, but because it was a person who saw me and who wants to help me grow and get further and expand the things that I want to venture into.
Right. You said that it happened by chance, but you actually attracted it, right?
That one. So on one of my vision boards, I have so many. I have a word and it says attract, and then it's a line through it, and it says chase, a line through it, and then attract. So that's kind of like my new thing. That's how I go by opportunities now. It's just, I used to be the person that would just send, but it was a lot for me, like mentally, and I just find more peace in just meditating it, and it actually does come as long as I stay steady in like in my own work, and then just start my morning with, you know, this is what I'm attracting, this is what I feel like my work can attribute to, this is how I can be of service to someone else, and I really pray that a person can help me like grow into like the person that I'm supposed, my higher self. Right. So yeah, it's bringing me peace. It's a different way of seeking opportunity. For those of you who might feel too much stress, like throwing yourself out there all the time. I do have my seasons. I have my seasons where I'm like, okay, I do need to put my name out there. But in this season, I'm practicing just waiting on it and waiting on that right timing.
I guess attracting, I think that also relates to creating your comfort space, or the space in which you feel at home, right? There's elements to that, and I think one thing in terms of us returning home that I wanted to talk about today is how sometimes we can get in our heads in terms of the environment that we're living in presently, right? But thinking that we need to make an adjustment to somehow feel better about our experience in the now, but sometimes it's not always like that. I mean, we made the choice to return home. You went to Dallas, I went to Los Angeles, but that's not always necessary. Sometimes your home is exactly where you're at. You just have to go out and search for it. And it's not immediately in the proximity, right?
That's true. Yeah, definitely. Like when I was trying to do my quote unquote attracting, I was feeling down in my space, but maybe I could have, after going home, I realized the elements that made me feel more alive and renewed when I was home, I can find them here. And so coming back, I got to learn a little bit as to what more I can do to make this place a home, so I don't get in those down moments that I did in my quote unquote patient moment, because I was patient until an extent, and then I said I gotta go home. I gotta go home. But now coming back, I'm like, I think I can, my endurance being away from home can stand longer, now possibly a year. After some of the altercations that I went through after going home, and some of the realizations that, hey, I am an adult. Right. So for me, it was friends, it was people. It was really friends.
Yeah, it was friends for me too.
It was friends speaking into me. It reminded me that I need to call them more. We're getting into this moment where
it's lonely.
Got to schedule a FaceTime with my friends. I know you guys are hearing this. We're all busy, all of our different schedules. It's hard to reconnect, but it's so like it just feels so good to be with someone who remembers who you were, who you are, and is so excited to see where you're going, and then vice versa. It just brought me so much joy to hear how my friends are doing, and it just reminded me that I need to call them more. this is a moment where we actually need to be closer than ever.
Yeah.
And if, you know.
We can. And that just takes us checking in, taking the time to reach out. Just, for me, I'm such a bad texter, and you might relate with this too, or any of the Aftergrads out there. I'm such a bad texter, and I hate that to all my friends that think that I'm ignoring them or I'm not reaching out. I'm so sorry. I promise I'm thinking about you, but I am such a bad texter, but I think I am trying to find ways. If I think about you, let me just send a quick text. Let me just reach out to you, see how you're doing. If you don't respond, that's okay. I'm never one to be offended by someone not responding, but it's just the thought, right? If we're making efforts to reach out to the people that we care about.
It's little things.
It's the small things. And then when we're able to return home, it was such a magical experience for me because I spent 4 years in Los Angeles after leaving my place where I grew up, Little Rock, Arkansas. Going back to the university, checking in with everyone, it was just nice to be able to be in the place that in some sense built me and made me into the person that I am right now. But also just to reflect on how far I've come and on the journey that we're both walking together and the community we're trying to build. Also, thank you to the people at my university campus who have been listening to the podcast. That was another thing that really uplifted me when I returned to campus. There have been so many people that have been listening to us on this podcast and so many university students who have been telling me that your podcast is really pouring into me. And when you share those comments with me, it's pouring into me as well. So thank you. I guess, remembering that community can be anywhere, right? I have community in Los Angeles. I have community here with you and with some of the people that we've met and soon to meet. And
staying connected with them. Yeah, that was an element for sure. And then the second element I realized too that wasn't there when I got home was my own space. So I get home and my mom completely changed my room and everything, like rightfully so.
Right, we're no longer living there.
But so I ended up sleeping on the couch for the whole week. And, you know, that was an aspect that I realized it requires a home. Yes, it's something basic, but I'm just saying, like, a calm space in which you feel relaxed and like this is mine. And so the things that when I went to Dallas, it was like, yes, friends. The thing I also realized was my space. So I ended up like spending a night with a couple friends. Shout out to the friends who were like, just come to my spot and just stay with me. I really appreciated that. Really did. Because when I came back, I was also more grateful for the space that I had created or have created here. So now just bringing in more friends, remembering my community, reaching out to them more often, making more effort. Because it does count. It does matter.
You were talking about your friends, or you were talking about your return back to Dallas and how you entered your home, the place where you slept, the place where you grew up, and realizing that...
No hard feelings, Mom, but it's just how I felt.
Yeah, it's just how you felt, and realizing that the place that you slept and the place that you grew up looks so different. Foreign, exactly. Like, where is the bed? Where is my space? Where's everything that I used to know? It can be very disorienting, and although I didn't go back to the place where I grew up in Arkansas, I have returned at various points for Thanksgiving. If you listen to that episode, we talked about it there. But it's the emotion, for me is disorienting because I think in that episode we talked about how we have these relationships with our parents, and then over time as we grow up they can shift, and then there's new expectations that arise. You know, you're out, you're making money, or you're doing your own personal project, you're creating a professional life for yourself, and then wanting to still treat you as if you are under the age of 18 and having all these expectations. And it's just trying to grapple with this because I want that community of having my parents love me in the way of me being their child, because I am, but then there's also the new desire to want to be an independent adult and live my own life and check in when I want to and not always check in when you want me to. And I think it's a balancing project because I'm at the point too, and I feel very comfortable with my parents where I'm not coming home right now. I'll see you soon when I'm ready to book the flight. And that it's been up to them. After this trip,
I've made that decision too.
It's up to us. It's up to us. And that's the boundaries that I think we have to set, because we're our own people, we're our own humans, and it's up to us to create our sense of community and our sense of home in the ways that we want to.
Moving forward, going home, I think what's very healthy right now, if I was to go back, I would be staying with a friend or a hotel, and then seeing my parents, like visiting them. I think that's like the new work. Yeah, just because to find that balance of like, hey, I'm grown and I stand here, but then we are still this. We still love. We still have our moments. We can still enjoy each other, but we don't have to necessarily go into like you were saying, basically into like the child parent ordeal. But I mean, that's respect all the way.
Respect. Of course.
It's respect all the way. But then there's a moment where you realize, damn, I need respect for myself.
I need respect for myself.
Well.
And I'm gonna work to show you how to love me and show you how to respect me. And I think that's definitely the relationship
and
that
we're not being disrespectful.
No.
I'm just saying this is very healthy.
It's very healthy.
Yeah.
And I think my relationship, I mean, my healthier relationship with my parents, I think, started when I went off to college, honestly, because I was able to be more independent. I was making my own money. There was distance. And that was a huge thing for me when I was selecting colleges. I knew that I wanted to be able to create an entire community and environment that was so far removed from where I grew up, but then also the ability for my parents to pull up at any given moment. I needed that distance, and California and Arkansas gave me that distance that I really wanted for myself. It was very freeing and very liberating to have that type of community away from the trauma of Arkansas.
It could be,
That's my personal experience. And I think over time, I was actually looking at this Instagram post by Dylan Burnside. He's one of the actors in Pose. He posted this about 2 weeks ago or so. And in the post, he basically talks about his experience as a queer black man, his relationship with home, lots of trauma growing up in the South, and struggling to find his definition of home. And in the post, he basically explains how he's created multiple characters that talk about home. He's written scripts that discuss the ideas of home. And he basically, the moral of the story is in the post, he talks about how it took him redefining his definitions of home for himself to feel comfortable creating home outside of the South, but then also being able to return to the place that he grew up and finding ways to still call it home.
Yes.
And that's super important, because if you can't address the traumas that you have about where you grew up, I don't think you're ever going to be able to find safety and refuge elsewhere.
And that's why I think a lot of growth can come from that as well, because some of the traumas that the parents still might be in habit of, like when you step back and you're like, okay, I'm stepping out of this, like now we are adults enough, right, to step out of the situation and be like, listen, that's a trigger.
Yeah. That
is a trigger. And I'm no longer a child to take that trigger anymore. And so that, also the distance and the stepping away and me like staying over my friend's place, right? It gives them time to reflect, okay, what necessarily drew this distance between us? And then when we do come together, it's more of like an understanding.
Right.
And we, you only want to get the good parts in.
Yeah.
Right? So it's healthy. I feel like it's healthy.
Yeah.
And then, we'll slowly warm
You pick it up as you go.
Right. We're learning each other again because now we're grown.
Right.
And it's different. It's definitely different. The dynamic is definitely different, and it's respectable. Both people are allowed to be respected.
Absolutely.
That's really my point here. It's not like I'm, saying go screw your parents.
Right.
No, not at all. It's just both of us deserve to be
right. And on this topic of, I guess, creating home wherever you are, I mean, we talk about how you went back to Dallas. We're now creating home here in DC. We've also both been around the world. We both have traveled everywhere. We like to consider ourselves global citizens. What do you consider
a home?
A home, like what do you need to feel comfortable? The elements.
Yeah. So I think I have 3. It's the friendship. So I have to stay in communication line with my people from Texas, like specifically. That keeps me saying I love you guys so much, all of y'all. Yeah. And then my second thing is my space. My room has to be a certain way. Like there has to be light. There has to be, I mean, I'm basic, but I'm just like a bed and a good space to do a little bit of stretching in the morning. If I have those 3 elements, it's good. We're good. We're doing fine. And then another aspect, I guess, to home now that I'm realizing is warmth. I thought I was a winter person, but after coming here.
Absolutely not for me.
No. I think I'm going to be a visitor, a traveler to, colder places. But in the long haul, like settling down. First of all, settling down.
No,
that makes me laugh.
I can't see that happening in a long time for me. Settling down.
You're right.
Yeah. I mean, settling down independently, yeah, sure, but anyway.
Having a spot to come back to, I think that spot will have to be a warm place. But if I have those 3 elements, I love moving around. I love being in new places and nobody knowing who I am, and then building authentic relationships by chance. I love that. That's a whole experience I was on, and it probably came from traveling, and it's just something adrenaline that I love and I want to keep living out.
For sure. I mean, I think that there's something electric and energizing about going to a new spot and then having to recreate your sense of home and community too. I think that might be what you're speaking to. I'm reflecting on my time studying abroad, and I definitely consider, I studied abroad in Thessaloniki, I definitely consider Thessaloniki one of my homes. I didn't spend much time there, but I do think that if I were to return there, I would be able to reintegrate myself into the community that I somewhat built when I was there, which I guess, that's a product of thinking of myself as a global citizen.
Exactly. Yep, finding people around the world, giving me an excuse to travel too.
Always.
Yeah,
absolutely.
when I meet new people around the world, I'm like, we're going to see each other again.
Oh, for sure.
That's another ticket.
Yeah. I don't do goodbyes. No. I just see you soon.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because when you cross paths again, like this.
Right. Literally this. Right. Hadn't seen each other for 6 years.
6 years.
Right. But here we are, living together.
So yeah, home away from home right now. But, you know, what's funny is now we have to consider a new home because our lease is almost up.
It is. Ooh, it's coming to a close. This was cute. This place got us through.
It did.
For about 7-8 months or so.
The hunt for a new place, though.
That's tough.
This is new.
It's a struggle, too, when you're trying to, everyone knows the struggle of trying to find a place in the midst of being an adult. Like, it's so challenging. You have so many responsibilities, work. Where do you find the time?
Right.
To
credit,
search?
Make sure it's high.
Right. Credit is such a scam. No, it's absolutely ridiculous the ways in which they prevent people from being able to just find shelter for themselves, the bare necessities. It's absolutely absurd. And I was actually talking to one of my friends when I went back to Los Angeles, and I was telling them, I'm thinking about moving. I don't know where yet, but I still am thinking, what's this rent going to be looking like, right? And they're saying that, certain places, they're saying that you're going to need like a credit score of 770, 780.
That's family or
That's
score?
So close to perfect.
Yeah.
Far above average.
Right.
And, that's tough too, especially talking to young people like us.
We're just coming out, just got a credit card. What?
Yeah.
We don't even have a score. My dad, he made me get a credit card when I was a senior because he was like, you need to start building your credit score. And I was like, I'm sure. And how is a year compared to someone who gets it right out of college? Is it going to be a drastic difference in score? I guess there is, because I have friends who are just now getting their card and they're like, I don't have a score at all. Yeah. So this the credit score.
I mean, let this be motivation to get a credit card as early as possible. I got a credit card in my freshman year of university. But again, that information isn't always out there. It's not readily available. So again, I mean, you're telling me that friends are getting their first credit card upon graduating. You got yours, I guess, senior year. There's not enough time to build that type of credit score, and then you're expected to have an apartment to be able to be a functioning member of society, pay your bills and everything. So much is based on credit, too. And if you don't have the time to build the credit, how can you be expected to make that transition?
Yeah, and then
so
calculating
ridiculous.
in not only like the down payment, the credit score, but then the money it takes to move your items. It's like there's so many different weighing factors, and we have 3 months. We have 3 months, and
I don't want to do it.
I'm
scared.
I am. I'm actually scared about this one because we keep talking about it. Like, hey, have you found a place? Nope.
Still searching. Them rent prices ain't giving. Expensive.
Right.
And then what? Go back home? No. And we've done good. I mean, we've been fortunate to not have to return home. Arkansas for me, Dallas for you. Yeah. And I don't want to start. I don't want to start now.
Back home. I just went home. I'm good.
You were good. Yeah, we got the little dose. It's nice to do it in doses.
Yeah.
Go in, dip out, and I'll see you when I see you. That's my energy. That's my perspective.
That's a new territory we're about to cover. But yeah, for those of you who are in school right now, out of school with your parents, or in school at a dorm and thinking about you don't want to go home immediately. You want to head out.
Right.
You got some things to juggle.
Yeah, and things to start thinking about.
Yeah, learn through us. We'll keep you updated on how this process is going. Yes, we moved out here.
Right.
It was a family friend. It was networking.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of things that we didn't necessarily have to think of in comparison to like a formal apartment complex and all of like the contracting and stuff like that. So this is going to be our first time going through like all of
like
it.
an actual application process.
Yeah.
Us not knowing the person we'll be leasing from.
I don't know exactly.
Wait periods.
Right. Not trying to get scammed.
Checks, not trying to get scammed. Right.
Because it's real.
It is real.
They post some pictures and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, we almost got scammed when we were looking for places out here in DC.
Yeah, we actually almost did if we didn't call them.
If we didn't call them
and
talk to them.
That's just... Call them.
Speak to someone in person.
Call them and if you have a friend out in the state, have them look at it for you. Right. Something.
Yeah, anything.
Just to legitimize that the place that you are hoping to get is real.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Finding a new home. We went to our home, making this home more of a home.
Go home. And I think it's the small things. I mean, going back to just, I guess, creating the environment that you're living in and not being so quick to write off the environment that you're in.
Yeah.
Right? I think that that's such an important topic in relationship to home because we have so many different spots and different places that aftergrads can be. And you might be a university student. And if you're a university student, you're creating home on your campus. You're trying to find community there.
I think that's what's the tough part, though, is like being in the pandemic and connecting with others has been so difficult.
Well, that's just ruined everything.
Weird. And just so weird. Like meeting people through Zoom, I'm like,
yeah, it's not. I mean, of course, that's not giving. It's
right,
tough
it's
to be
not,
looking at a screen all day.
Really not. So
calling that socialization.
Right.
Not.
So I don't even think we've gotten the chance to really explore DC to the fullest because these streets are empty.
Yeah.
I mean, at 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock, when they need to go to work and come back home from work, that's when you see the rush of people. But in terms of meeting people, it's just not really out there.
Yeah. It can be difficult.
It's pretty tough.
Right.
Maybe we need to try harder. Or maybe we're just trying to keep ourselves safe. Like, which one?
Yeah. And I think that that's the limbo that I think a lot of people can find themselves in at this given point with the pandemic. You know that people are out. You know that people are doing things. Events are taking place. And there's this app called Nudge that you put me on that sends us
but
events
it's still not
things.
giving.
Yeah,
it's giving me hikes.
Yeah.
It's like, where am I going to meet people?
Right. Not like
hikes,
large groups of things that could be happening where you could actually meet people and make new friends. So that's just one avenue, but still there's always the question of knowing if there are people out there doing things which you know they are, but then we're still in a pandemic. Like where are people going to be doing these types of activities?
But we do have the but the blessing of knowing two people here.
Right.
So it's just reaching out. Right. If you're listening, hey, I just want to see them more often. The few that I do know here in this space, in this home, I want to make more effort. So being grateful for the people we have met or we have reconnected with is just, we just need to act on that more. My mom always used to say, is it a need or a want? And in our case right now, finding this new place, it's definitely a need because our lease is up.
Right.
You have this.
Right, and when it's up, it's done. You hit the door. Get out.
Right. So, but I mean, some of you guys might be still with your parents, and that's totally fine too.
That's totally fine. Especially because in light of the pandemic, we recently read that about more than majority of recent graduates aged from like 18 to 29 are living at home with their parents. So it's totally okay. It's totally fine. And I don't think people should feel bad for it. I mean, we never saw this coming at such an uncertain period.
Yeah, the only time you should find it as a concern for yourself, I feel like if it's becoming to feel like a need to get out.
Right.
Rather than
due to mental health reasons, or just you are at your wit's end and you're realizing that you can't be your own man, woman, person and express yourself in the way that you know you can and need to, then it's time to go. And I mean, that was kind of where we were at, which is why we're not at our place that we grew up at.
Respectfully, there was nothing left in Dallas for me to, I feel like, grow to my fullest potential. And so that's why it became a need more than a want. It was beyond just to say that I was out the house and I'm my own adult. No, that I want privacy. No, I could have made that work at home, but it was more of a mental.
Cheaper too.
It would have been so much cheaper. Trust me, I am not willingly wanting to pay rent. Rent hurts. For those of you who are still like making your home work within your household. No props. Like, that's a skill.
That's great. And I mean, that's perfect. Everyone can't do it, but if you can, I mean, you're going to save a lot of money that way. And it just so much. Allows you to develop. And then when you're ready, hopefully you've been saving that money so that you can, skyrocket off into the new location that you're going to find for yourself in the future. Right.
So for those of you making it work at home or away already and you're, feeling like you need to be home, like us, let's recap. we kind of reflected on it at the beginning, is like, what makes a home? How can you make your space right?
Yep.
And we're struggling with that, especially in the pandemic, figuring out what the boundary is between your office space, your sleep space, everything going remote.
Yep.
Both ways, already gone or at your parents' place. Like, how do you find that boundary of stepping away from what not necessarily stresses you, but gets you worked up? How do you find that spot that is safe and relaxing?
Right. Because sometimes the physical space that you're living in might be smaller than what might be helpful for you to feel independent, for you to feel like you can have your workspace over here, like you can have your sleep space over here, like you can rest and chill over here. And also with remote work too, that's not helping the situation either, because the work, you're working at your office table, but that's also might be the location where you're resting, you're watching TV, you're recuperating, and everything is just a big jumble of work, rest, eat,
and then
repeat.
When you add parents into that situation,
that can be so many stressors.
It make you want to blow up.
Right.
But if you can manage that,
right,
then make it work where you see it work.
And then there's no need to physically move or physically leave the place that you're living. But again, everyone's situation is different, right? It's gonna be a different process for you to figure out what can I do in the immediate to make the space that I'm in feel like home.
Yeah, another away from the physical sense, but also in the emotional sense. If you're back to, I want to put in more effort reaching out to my friends, sometimes you find friends within your workspace, and then that becomes, because you guys have things in common, your schedule is more aligned, because girl, we work at that time, you right, so let's do this time. It's just easier, it's more convenient. You become really close with your coworkers. But stepping outside of that as well, that is a level of finding home away from home, like getting away from the workspace, finding that boundary. So yeah, like we're working buddies.
We're working buddies.
But I needed to go see my friend.
Yes.
Yeah, this is bestie.
This is bestie. But yeah, we needed that break from each other so that we could come back.
A different face.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's healthy.
So it's very healthy. I think that's another thing on the emotional side as well as the physical side.
Right. And then I guess determining when you're reflecting on what you currently call home for yourself, we can be so quick, I think, sometimes to write off the place that we're living in. Oh, I can't deal with this. I can't deal with this one aspect. It might be my parents. It might be my group of friends aren't gelling in the way that I want them to. And when you have those moments, I think it's good to reflect and to determine, okay, have I done absolutely everything in my power? Of course, you know what you can take and what you can't, but have I done everything in my power to make the space that I'm living in currently feel as comfortable and as homey as possible? And I think that's part of a question that we have to answer for ourselves as we begin to embark on this move for ourselves. Have we done everything that we can to make DC feel like home?
Right.
I think DC is cute for a particular type of person.
I think we did our best.
I think we did. We are doing our best.
Yeah.
We're making it work for us. And, it's not a situation where I need to get out of DC right now. I can't be here no more. No, it's not like that. It's just I know that there is another location that I think could speak more to me in terms of what I want for myself.
And that makes you much of a more flexible person. The fact that you can adaptable person. The fact that you can make any place or space or, living arrangement work for you as long as you know your basics as to what I declare is my resting place and my point. Now, some of the elements are out of your hands. Yeah. And in our case, the weather was out of our hands. That is something we cannot control. But that is something as we look for our new spot that we can look at. And
I don't need seasons.
Now it's definitely it's definitely something that's on my list of, as I look for a new place, what I'm requiring. Before I was like, I don't care about weather. I'm good. No, it's a requirement. It has to be a warm spot for me.
Absolutely. Warm spot always. And then another thing, I know I asked you earlier in the episode about what are your elements for home. I think the big thing for me is just a sense of community. I really want to be branching out, and I know that we've talked about that in previous episodes and on this one too, but I really need to be meeting new people that are going and walking on this journey as much as we are. And I think that, again, is going to start happening in the near future as I continue to reach out.
It's going to happen.
It will happen.
Watch. We're going to have 3 friends on this show.
Yeah, right. We're going to bring on people that we met in DC.
Right. Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So making your home, whether or not you're away from home or you're coming home, just
The theme is making your current situation comfortable, and we've harped on that in previous episodes before, but doing whatever you can in the meantime to make the moment comfortable, to make the space that you're in feel like home, so that you can get through the period that you're in and have a goal, have a vision, right? I think those two things go hand in hand.
Yes.
Alright, Aftergrads, that's our show. Thank you for watching. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at the Aftergrad Podcast.
If you're interested in the visual version of our episodes, make sure to subscribe to our channel and be updated on our latest releases.
Also, Aftergrads, we want to hear from you, so if you have a question, comment, concern, or life situation that pertains to being an Aftergrad, please share those with us over at our email address, which is theaftergradpodcast@gmail.com, or you can DM us on Instagram, which again is at the Aftergrad Podcast.
Finally, we would really appreciate a 5-star review or a share. Not only does this make us happy, but it helps other Aftergrads such as yourself find this platform and join our growing family.
And that's it for this episode. Thank you for listening or watching. And with that, this is the Aftergrad Podcast. Peace.
Ciao.